burping. I always burp when I'm about to record. Does that ever happen to you? Like, even if I'm going to like sing or be on stage, I always get like burpy. It always happens.
I yawn.
Oh, see now you
Yeah.
yawning. Even looking at that, there you go. Even looking at like the yawn emoji makes me yawn. Like it's so bad. Ugh.
No.
Hello and welcome to the Rewrite Your Story community. This podcast was created to inspire others to take power back into their own lives. I'm here to share the stories and tools that I have learned through my own life experiences and my guests as well to help you rewrite your story forever. This podcast is best paired with an open mind and a journal, so let's get comfy and dive right in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rewrite Your Story podcast. For those of you who have joined in on YouTube, you will see that we have a wonderful guest with us this week. Some of you, I'm sure, will be familiar with this space. Others won't be. So, Tasha, for those who don't know who you are, I would love if you could give us a little intro and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. I am a South African living in Munich, Germany. And yeah, we got to know each other on the Hungry for Happiness coaching certification because I am currently in a transition into yoga and coaching, life coaching.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we've both been doing this course now. I think this is our 3 months. I think we look today.
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months. I feel like
crazy.
Sometimes it feels really long and sometimes it feels really short. I'm like, oh, is it that time already? And I'm like, whoa, I thought I'd been doing this for like a year. It's pretty awesome. And I know anybody who follows me kind of on Instagram or YouTube will have seen that and heard me talk about this course, quite often. And as you can hear from where Tasha's from, we have people from all over the world in this thing.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome because I like without something like this, how would you or I have ever connected? It's pretty darn cool. And I know Tasha mentioned, and I know a little bit because we've chatted a few times before, but Tasha mentioned that she's going through a career kind of change, moving into the yoga and coaching space. But what type of career are you in? What are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm actually working for a big German car company and I'm developing like the flow mechanic part of the air conditioners for the cars, for the new cars. And yeah, I studied mechanical engineering in South Africa. I got a bachelor's in mechanical engineering with a focus on aerodynamics. And then I came to Germany because I had a whim I wanted to do a master's more in this area in aerodynamics and fluid mechanics. So Germany's the place to go for engineering. So I started learning German and then I came here to do my master's and then I just started working here. And so now I have this job designing, developing air conditioning for a big German car company.
That sounds bananas to me. Like if I think of someone in aerodynamics, did you say aerodynamics?
Yeah.
I'm like, and engineering. I'm like, how does one go from that world to yoga and coaching? Like they almost seem so opposite, like complete opposite. How on earth, like what did you have was this like a one day you're like, I'm doing this, or was it a slow thing you'd always thought about? Like, I'd love to know what was the beginning to this shift?
Since I started working, because I think this year I've been working 3 years and my studies took a long time because I studied in German as well. It took me a bit longer to finish my master's. And in that time and up to now, I was just really upset and depressed and having problems and I wasn't happy. And last year, or like a year before I turned 30, I was kind of having a crisis and thinking, no, I'm turning 30 and I'm not happy and I want to be happy. So I started actively trying to do something and find out, okay, how can I reach my goals? How can I be happy? And in the beginning, I just believed, okay, if I lose weight, then I will be happy. So that was my goal, because I had lots of problems with depression, and that also, I had lots of problems with food, like emotional eating and binging and purging because of that. And so that was what I was focusing on, because obviously that's the reason that I'm not happy. And that's actually how, with this whole process, at the end, I came to coaching and yoga, because I realized that the food wasn't the reason why I am unhappy. It's something inside. It's something below the surface. Because in the beginning, I started with like diets and learning how to eat intuitively, and everything took me one step deeper into myself, until I came to a point where I thought, okay, what do I actually want to do with my life? And do I want to keep working like this for the rest of my life? Because like a standard is 40 hours, and I don't really, for the city I live in, I actually don't make that much, which I think is ridiculous. And so it's just brought that question up for me: is this worth it? Is this really what I want to do? Yeah. And then I started researching, okay, what can I do? What would I like to do? And there's a diagram, the Ikigai diagram. I don't know if you know it.
I know it from hearing about you talking about it on your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just found that so helpful, because it had a part where the tips on the video that I watched, he said, don't just write what you like now. Think of what you liked when you were younger and when you were a kid, and when you didn't have any responsibilities or all these problems. And I noticed with that sport and being active and being more, I would say, a bit more free and determine myself, it's such a big part of my life. And I'm very creative, and I wanted to do something that's more in that area. And in the beginning, because I have done yoga a lot, it's 7-8 years ago I started doing yoga, but it was always on and off, and I wasn't always that consistent. And but then I made a list. Okay, what kind of sport did I do? Because I thought, okay, at least I want to do like a side job in this area that I want to do. That was actually my original plan, to just do it like a side job, so I can also.
I think that's where a lot of us start. Like when we start to find out what our passions are, we're like, oh, we'll just do that on the side. That doesn't need to be my main gig. But what I love to be like a little bit. Before we jump into that, though, I'd love to know a little bit more about the Ikigai method. Like if you could explain it to anybody listening, because I learned it from listening to you, but people here, I'm sure, will be like, what's that? And I don't want to brush past it, because they may learn some good tips from it.
Yeah. Well, the first part was, what do you love to do? And what can you do well? What can you make money with? And I think, what does the world need? I think those are the 4 parts. Sorry. It's what you love, what are you good at, what can you get paid for, and what does the world need? So when all of these combine, it's the reason you get up in the morning that fills you with passion. And I just love that idea as well. So that's why I got into the sport. I thought, okay, definitely somewhere in the sports industry, I want to do something. And I knew, okay, as an engineer, I'm definitely just going to do that as a side gig or a side hustle. And but then I found out, okay, I want to go more into yoga, because then, as I made a list of all the sport that I've been doing and what I loved, I realized that I kind of lost my way from yoga. I stopped doing yoga as often. And actually, in my time at university, I really noticed how much yoga helped me, because yeah, if you listen to my podcast as well, you know that I also had problems with anxiety, and especially in school and in university, I had anxiety attacks when my marks wasn't like very good marks. I would have an anxiety attack, and if there was a test or something, I couldn't sleep at all, and I was just so stressed. And at university, I started doing yoga so I can actually sleep during the test phase where we have all our exams and everything. And that's when I realized how much that helped me, because then I could actually sleep. And because before that, I was already asking myself, will I be able to live like this if I stress like this the whole time? And then yoga helped me, and then I forgot, and I started working, and I got sad and depressed and stressed again. Yeah.
Well, I wonder why we do that. Like, so many of us, we, like, and because you'd mentioned, like, obviously to do the career you're doing, and I just know a bit more about this from listening to your podcast and obviously getting to know you off camera, but you've had to go through a lot of education to get to where you are. And to hear that doing those tests and exams and studying and all that stuff was stressing you out, and the anxiety and the issues that came in with the eating and food and everything else, you almost have the question, and I know from listening to your podcast too, that you did ask yourself it, but it's kind of like, why are we choosing this? Like, we're going to the academic route, and don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing academia here, but you're going that route, but it's stressing you out. Like, your body is literally telling you, like, your body's struggling to sleep, all the things that are coming up, like your body's literally screaming at you saying, stop it, I don't like this, don't do this to me. But for some reason, you're just like, nah, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do it. And I think, like, for your scenario, it was the education route. For me, it's been toxic relationships. For other people, it's other things. But we do that a lot. And I know we've kind of covered this in doing our course and stuff, but we chase things that aren't good for us because it's like seems to be fulfilling some sort of a need for us. And for you, when you're mentioning that, like, you had all this anxiety around tests, but you still heavily pursued academia. Why do you think you were heavily pursuing it? Like, what kind of need was that fulfilling for you, even though your body was like, no, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that absolutely, because it's like you said, my body gave me so many signals, and I also got like rashes and everything, and I got like allergic reactions over my whole body very easily, and I didn't have a clue what it was, but it's all the stress. And so my body was giving me all these signs, but the reason that I just kept doing this is because, one, I think that from this Hungry for Happiness, I learned a bit more about my insecurities and asking what the actual need is behind that. And I realized that I was using that to be able to control that situation. And because I knew that I can do my best and be the best, because then I believe then I'll be loved. Then I will be worth it. Then people will want to spend time with me if I'm very good at whatever. And so we've gone into this a lot with the Hungry for Happiness as well. And it just brings up all these memories stuff that I forgot. And but it's like when you're a kid in school, and how you develop these strategies to try and get your needs filled and get your needs met. And so I was using that, doing like being the best at school and being the best at everything to get that need met, because I didn't feel worth it. And that just kept on going through the primary school, high school, university, the whole way. And when that fell away after university, that's when I really hit my low point at that, because I didn't have that anymore. And I didn't realize that was my strategy to get my needs met and to feel better, until I didn't have the university and the studies and everything anymore. And I was just at work, and you just have to do your work. You don't really get feedback at all. And obviously I work hard at my work as well, because I want to be the best. And I am also very important for my project manager. She told me she can't imagine what she'll do if I'm gone, but it's just that same thing that I try to get this need met. And it's like you say, it's not to say anything bad about academia or anything, but that's not making me happy, and that's not what's going to make me happy later in my life. So when I realized that, that's why I thought, okay, no, I want to change careers. And actually in the back of my head, I've always thought, yeah, I would love to be like a dog trainer or a yoga teacher. And actually before I'd now decided that I want to pursue becoming a yoga teacher, I also thought, yeah, one day I would just love being a yoga teacher. And yeah, I can have like a zero waste or package free shop that I sell stuff, or I had so many ideas of stuff that I could do, but everything was just hanging in the air and it wasn't connected. So it wasn't really tangible for me how I could make a living with that.
Yeah.
And for me, the coaching was also a very quick decision. I don't know if we talked about this before, but yeah, for me, I decided that I want to do the yoga teacher training and become a yoga teacher and do that in the beginning of October 2020. And okay, I wanted to just jump to the coaching, how I came to the coaching, but actually there's such a big thing that's lying in between me. Cool. Because with this Ikigai diagram, I decided, I want to become a yoga teacher. And all that stuff was still hanging in the air, the other ideas, that stuff that I could do. And then I was checking places where I can do a yoga teacher training. And then I fell with my bike and broke my shoulder. And then I just got up in my head and I was so upset because I told myself, how am I ever going to do a downward dog if I have a broken shoulder? And I thought that this thing that I've just decided I want to do and want to pursue to become happy and change my life to be more in line with what I want is taken away from me. So I was kind of in a bad place with that.
How? And in fairness, I kind of know the answer to this because I've listened to your podcast, but that moment of, I know what I want to do, to go through all of those things. And I don't want to also take attention away from that. That's a beautiful thing to come to realization for. Like anybody listening here, if you can relate to anything that Tasha's been saying with regards to, doing things for other people, trying to get a need met where your body's literally telling you no, telling you these things, like telling you can't listen, because I think the more you'll hear about this beautiful human story, it'll make sense. But the fact that you actually went through all of that, you started listening to your body, you're like, okay, yoga teaching, getting into this world, I'm doing it, then boom, the shoulder, like you just mentioned, it's almost like you're going down their path and then it just gets ripped away from you. Yeah. But you're doing it now. So what was it that you didn't let that setback hold you back? Because I think a lot of us, we get setbacks in life and then that one thing happens and it stops us. But with you didn't stop. What was it that kept you going? Why did you not give up when you so easily could?
I was in a very, very upset, like you could imagine, because that just felt like this was ripped away from me. And I was telling myself, I won't even be able to do a downward dog. And I'm someone who researches a lot, so I was researching all the worst cases of shoulder injuries, and they are not good. It's not a good idea to do that while you're sitting in the hospital. That was on the day that I'm still getting my x-rays. When I had my accident, I was already Googling everything. And
I think we do that. We go to Google as soon as we've got a symptom. It's bad.
But I went to all the papers. There's lots of papers and stuff. And so I was really feeding this negative story of what it means and that I won't be able to do the yoga anymore. and I was so upset. And then at one point, I just told myself, you know what? I will do everything that I can to get back to where I was. And that was really at my low point. I was so upset, and I promised myself that. And because it was at that low point and I was so vulnerable, every time afterwards, when I think, no, I am not going to do something, or not going to do yoga, or not going to practice or stretch my shoulder or something, I remember how I felt in that moment, and that I promised myself that I will do everything. And now it just feels like I'm breaking a promise that I made to myself if I don't do that. And yeah, so that's been a massive influence on my recovery, because I told myself that, and I reminded myself of that a lot. And my physio, when I could finally start moving, because it was, luckily I didn't need an operation, so it could heal on its own, but that meant I had to hold it still for longer than you usually would, because it was a bad break. And then when I could start moving my arm, I couldn't even lift it like a little bit. I couldn't move it like 10 degrees or something. And I just started practicing every single day. And I went to the physio twice a week. And every time I was there, she would comment on, wow, okay, wow, great. You're coming on very well. And about 2 months later, I could completely hold my arm above my shoulder, which is amazing for that injury. And she told me that she has people that are 5 months out and they can't even lift their arm like 90 degrees. Wow. And we talked about that. And the difference is that I actually did my practices every day. And most people don't prioritize themselves to actually do the practices to recover themselves. And I just thought that is extremely, it just hit me, because I made that promise to myself. So I was working at it, and there was like a direct comparison of what could have been and what is, what I could achieve and what could happen if I don't work at it, or just do like the physio 2 times a week. And so that was a big realization for me as well, how much power that has if you really work even a little bit. I just did like 10 minutes a day, but working towards that was a big thing.
That's key. That's key for anything. Like a friend of mine and I were also chatting about stuff yesterday, like goals we had to do with our bodies and flexibility and fitness and all of those things. And one of the things she kept saying to me was like, I just need to do it. She was talking to somebody else about it, and they're like, okay, if that's your goal, what are you doing about it? And she was just like, yeah, what am I doing about it? And when she said that to me, I was like, yeah, Amy, you got to get your shit in gear too. Like, you got to go start doing something about it. And I think, you know, anybody listening, hearing that comparison, like the difference was you did your exercises and other people didn't. You were able to get that results in 2 months versus someone who could just about do this after 5. Like, we owe it to ourselves to give us the best opportunities possible. We owe it to ourselves to do what's right for us. Like when you mentioned there, and I actually wrote it down about not breaking a promise to yourself. Like, I feel like we very much, as when I say we, I mean the collective we here, that we will not break our word to other people. Someone's like, I need you for this. Can you you'll commit. But when it comes to us, we will keep saying yes and burn ourselves out. We'll be tired, we'll be depleted, all those things, but we'll just say yes because we don't want to let other people down. But why don't we listen to us? Well, we know why, because we're going through all of that at the moment. But I really want you guys to think about that. Like Tasha had mentioned earlier about that Ikigai method, as well as, you know, how she was draining herself with regards to the education side and just wanting to get a need met. And I feel like, as spontaneous as these homeworks always are, I feel like that's what I want you guys to focus on this week, is looking at what genuinely makes you happy. And if you are someone that finds that you live in that high stress, high anxiety, and your body like will physically react to it, where you can't sleep, or you're feeling nauseous, or you're getting pain, even though there's no reason for your body to be in pain, and your skin, anything else reacting, allergies, delve into your why. Like what's happening in your life, or what are you doing in your life that's a no for you, that that doesn't light you up, that you feel pressured to do. I always there's this thing I started saying to myself, but I started doing all my self-development, and it's not, I don't have to go to dance class. I get to go to dance class.
Yeah.
I don't have to, like, even now, some days, as much as I love this course, some days I'm like, oh, I really don't want to have to watch all the videos and do all the things, and I'm too tired or whatever. But I'm like, no, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And it genuinely, I am excited about it. So I'd love for you guys to think about anything in your life that's causing you stress or anxiety, and how you could shift that. You know, okay, I do this because I get this need met. Well, how can you still have that fulfillment, but give it to yourself? Stop looking for it elsewhere. Bring it into you. Like hearing where Tasha's went from to where she is now, and we're about to jump into the even more juicy stuff of how she even got to coming across the course. But this is why I've got her on here, okay? Like, I just don't get any people on here. Like, their stories, like, I've already kind of heard her story, but it still blows my mind every time I hear about it, because some of you guys know from me, I've had injuries, I've had these things, and I did let them hold me back. I did completely stop doing certain things. But this little amazing human didn't. And that's why I want to get her here to just like share her story, and to help you guys realize that if any of you feel stuck, any of you feel sticky, there's a way out. There's a way through, even not even out, because you use that pain and that drives you forward. Like the fact that you were like, I'm not breaking this promise to me, and I'm doing this. I'm doing this for me. Like, that's huge. That is ginormous. Like, and you need to celebrate that, girl. That is massive. Massive.
Thank you.
Absolutely massive. Sorry I went on a big rant, but I'm very passionate about that. Like, that's just beautiful. Absolutely
Thank
beautiful.
you.
And the fact that your physio even like pointed it out was like, oh, what the hell? Like, this isn't normal. Like, I love that. I love that. Like, change what normal is. Like, if you know what's good for you, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You gotta love you and do you first. Like, oh, sorry, I kind of stole you while you were mid talking, but I had to bring attention to that, because that is not something worth passing over. Like, not at all. Not at all. But sorry, my apologies. So when your physio had kind of pointed that out to you, and you kind of made that realization, and you were not breaking a promise to yourself, and you were seeing results, what kind of happened next in your journey?
I just want to take one step back, because while I was in that journey, in those first 2 months, because I thought, I want to become a yoga teacher. I also thought, then I should do the stuff that you learn as a yoga teacher, or when you go into yoga. So I couldn't do anything physical that first 7 weeks. And then I just started meditating. And before that, I was also doing other courses about, connecting with your body. And I learned a triangle. They just called it the magic triangle, that says that you can influence the way you feel by changing the way you hold your body, and by changing the thoughts, like they called it the film that's running in your head. So I used that and meditation in a time when I couldn't move to help keep my spirits up. And then as soon as I could start moving, I did like yoga, the stuff that I couldn't do much. And then by the time that she, after 2 months after I could start moving, she told me that it just kind of fed the fire more, that I think, it's amazing, I can do this. And I just kept practicing more. And at that stage, I was booked sick from work for a long time because of my shoulder, because I can't sit at a computer and work if I can't, if I have pain and if I can't really move my arm enough. So that was easy in the beginning to do sport every day, because I was literally sitting at home and it was Corona, so you can't go anywhere anyway. And when I started working again, that was a bit more difficult to still prioritize myself and still take that time. But that's especially when this realization of, yeah, I really have the power to change that. And if I want to become a yoga teacher, if I want to be able to do a handstand by the end of the year, I can actually do that. So that's actually the background of why I started a 365-day yoga challenge, is because of that promise to myself. And I saw a video of someone sharing her journey over a year. And what she also said was that the biggest thing she got from it was self-love. And I also thought, yeah, great. I'm doing it. I'm sharing that story. And while I was doing that, and I was more on Instagram, I was sharing my daily yoga practice on there, I kind of got an ad about coaching. And that was the Monday in February sometime. And I was like, okay, what is coaching? And I Googled it a bit and I started researching, because I'm like a researcher, and it just clicked. Everything for me that was hanging in the air before, that I knew, yeah, I would love to do that and that. And it's this idea of doing like life coaching just combined all of that together and made it real. And on the Tuesday, I found Hungry for Happiness. On Wednesday, I had my call with one of the mentors for that mission. And on Thursday, it started. So for me, it was like a very quick decision in that moment. But I feel because it was at least a year and a half before that, that I was searching for something. And I knew I wanted to do something more, and I wanted to do change directions. And for me, that wasn't really a quick decision like that. It just clicked, and it was the answer to the question I've been researching and searching for the past year and a half. So yeah, that's how I came to Hungry for Happiness and the yoga teacher training. With the yoga and coaching, I was just going to combine that. And for me, that's also really something that I can completely transition into, because that was a big difference for me between just being a yoga teacher or doing the coaching as well. Is something I can completely dive into. I can do everything, and not just as a side job. So that was for me also a massive push to just go for my dream and to go for what makes me happy.
It's so amazing when I hear stories like that, like especially when people are like, I want to do this, and boom, it's done. Like some people look at that and are like, it's so impulsive. But when you hear Tasha's story and the story behind it, it's just like, no, this has been a little cog that's been happening for a while. And it's like just that missing piece. And it's like, yep, this is what fits. Yeah. This is where the puzzle will now feel complete. Like, this is what I need. And that's just so beautiful to hear you getting there. And I think sometimes, even some people listening may even assume this too. And I know I definitely did, where sometimes I've heard people in the past kind of, oh yeah, I made the decision. This is what I'm going to do. I would look at that and hear their story. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could just be like, that's what I want to do. Like sometimes you can think that this is just an overnight thing, that someone just out of nowhere is like, yeah, I'm going to do this now. But it's such a long process. It's just a deeper process that we need to give ourselves time for. Like if someone listening feels like they're in a rut, feels like they're in a cycle, feels like they're high stress and there's no way out, this isn't a quick fix. Like Tasha's journey was over a couple of years with also a major setback in between. Like mine took a hell of a lot of time. This is not something that's overnight. But this is a journey and it's a process, and it's so worth it. Like you have one life. Why
Absolutely.
live it for somebody else?
Yeah.
Like you are living.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've gone from high stress, issues with food, trying to get needs met by other people, getting that external validation, to now doing that yourself, loving yourself, validating yourself, doing what's right for you. Like the fact that you have even made that shift, dude, is huge. Not enough people do it. And that's why I wanted you here to like inspire those listening to start doing things for them, to put them first, to do what makes them happy. And like, look at that.
It is a process. Yeah.
It is. And like, I was just about to say, like, look at that smile on her face. She's not smiling. She was a second ago. But it's like, it's so genuine. Like when I talk to you, like, I know we haven't been able to meet in person given geographical locations and everything, but you have this like brightness in your energy. Like you seem so light and just like, I'm here. And it's just beautiful. And you know, I'm sure there was a point in your life where, as you mentioned, you were in some dark places, and it was like the thought of even getting to that light on the other side probably seemed so far. But you're here, and that light's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's about, like, when I hear your story, I'm like, it's not getting over your shit, it's moving through it. It's using that to propel you forward. Well, I'm not choosing that for me anymore. I'm better than that. I love me too much to keep doing that to myself. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, when you've started to like talk to people and tell people that you're going to make this shift or transition, you know, did everybody support it, or did you have people that were like, you're crazy, what do you do? Like, what was kind of the response when you started to like share that with people in your life?
Yeah, because it's been such a long process, like my boyfriend completely supported me. And when I was thinking of, because it was so short notice, doing the coaching maybe the year after that, he said, no, what's going to change between now and then? Just do it. And so I had amazing support. Yeah.
I was going to wait a year, and he's like, why would you set yourself back? Why would you do that to yourself? I'm like, oh yeah, why would I?
Yeah. And from my parents, I also had, I guided them slowly into that, but they also just want me to be happy. And I have told a few friends. With Corona, I haven't really had the chance to go and meet so many friends, but some understand and some don't. But I think it's because it's also, there's the standard way that you live your life that's expected, that you have to, that you just get a job and you work until you're 67 and then you can go in retirement, then you can do what you want. But that made me so upset when I was thinking about that. Because we were talking a lot about saving money for when we're going to go on pension and need that. And I was getting so upset because I don't want to wait until I'm like 50, 60, 70 to be able to do what I want. And it's like you say, we have one life. And so that was a big thing for me as well, to just not live this standard life that people kind of expect you to do. And all of our bosses, it feels like that's what's expected because that's the norm. And I didn't want that. And I'm just really glad that I, like you say, found that other direction for myself, that I can do that. And it's not easy because, like my boyfriend also says, he wishes that he knew what he wanted to do, because he's been seeing my whole journey and how I've been working through all this. And I have actually done the research and done the self-study and asked myself these questions and really tried to find out what I love, what's making me happy, what do I actually want to do. And then I found an answer. And he's just been seeing my journey and hearing about it, but he hasn't really tried to do that himself. And then he just sees at the end that I have this goal and I know what I want to do. And he says he wishes he has that, but he didn't do all the stuff in between. So I would definitely recommend that homework, to actually go and ask yourself these questions, so you know what actually makes you happy, what can you do for work? What does the world need? And what are you good at? Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And the fact that you'd highlighted kind of what your boyfriend said, I think we as humans, we as a collective, we do the collective, we do that so often. Oh, I wish I could do that. I would love to do that. But like my friend, the advice she got, well, what are you doing about it? You know, we can ask and wish, but if it's something you really want, and I think I say this in a few different episodes, if you actually want it, do it. If you're not doing it, ask yourself why. Is it because you don't want to do it? Is it because you're scared to do it? Why are you scared? Like, delve into that a bit more. Like, if you have a leak in your ceiling, say you live in like an apartment building, okay? You have a leak in your ceiling. Are you just going to keep plastering over the leak or put a bucket under? Or are you going to crack that shit open, find the pipe that has the leak and fix it at the root?
Yeah.
You know, we need to stop just fixing things on the surface. Oh, we'll just put a little, we'll cover that up. We'll hide that with a picture. We'll do whatever. No, get to the root. It is scary. It is hard. It is not easy. We are not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, just ask yourself this stuff and you'll be grand. No, it's tough. But if you genuinely want to live your life for you, you've got to do it. And it's never too late. There's some people doing this course with Tasha and I who are in their 60s. Like, it's never too late. For anybody that's listening here that is into stock and investing and doing stuff, okay, they always say the best time to get in is at the beginning, but the second best time to get in is now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're never going to have
to because
go for it. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, because it's also like you say, the best time to get into it is always going to be in the past, and it's going to be scary because like I've been working towards this career my whole life, and after only working for a few years now I changed completely, and that's also scary to change that and to make that decision, but it's absolutely worth it to just go towards it.
Like you mentioned, like about the promises to yourself, like you owe it to you. You like you mentioned it, and one of the guests I had on a couple of weeks ago, Shauna Griffith, mentions it too, about how humans, when we live, work our normal 9 to 5, we spend a shit ton of hours working in that job. You gotta love it. It got to light you up. If you are getting, we as humans, we have our own energetic states that we start our day in. And we need to be doing things that add to our energetic state. We don't want to be doing things that deplete us. Like, I love Mondays. I get really excited for Mondays. So many people I know hate them because they're like, ugh, I've got to do this. I've got to do it. Then I get to do it. I've got to do it. And it depletes.
Yeah, but even that mindset, is something that you can change. That if you are not able to change your jobs, you can still find out, okay, what is the reason why I'm upset or not happy? And even maybe that doesn't even mean that you have to change careers. Maybe it's just something in your life that you have to adjust or change, and change that mindset to actually be happy. Yeah.
And even in the workplace, some people out there love the academic life. That is what lights them up. They get so excited by it. Some people love, working in tech, love working in numbers and all those things. Like, if that lights you up, great. However, if there's something about your job, this is the HR person coming out in me that's worked in human resources for so long, but it could be your environment that needs to change. It could be a relationship dynamic that you have in work, but we're sitting back and doing nothing about it. It's not going to make it any better. You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your colleagues, the company you work for, whatever it may be, to bring those things up. Have a one-to-one meeting, and rather than just say, yeah, we're good, be honest. Say, actually, I'm upset about this, or this isn't working for me, or I'm feeling really energetically drained. I'm really tired. I'm, sometimes just not wanting to do this. Let's try to work on that together. And that's one thing I also commend, again, our course for, is that they always ask for our feedback and advice. And they're like, you don't like something, you tell us. And like, they encourage it. And as an addition to the homework, I want to encourage you guys to do that too. Like, if you love your career, you love what you're doing, but there's an element about what you're doing that you're not passionate about, that you don't enjoy, actually work on it. And I'll tell you, from a HR perspective, we love that feedback. We love to know that something's wrong or you're uncomfortable with something, because if we don't know, we can't fix it. We just assume things are right. Humans are not mind readers. We would love that we are. And I think a lot of us assume people are mind readers. We make hints to, like, oh, but I told you I didn't want to do that. I told you I didn't like that. I'm like, when? You know, when I said this thing, that really vague thing, that's what I meant. I'm like, well, don't hint at something. Just tell me what you mean. Like, we've got to be clear with each other.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself. Like Tasha says, like, make this promise to you. Make your life better for you. That's it. Like, it sounds so simple, and in its essence it is, but you've got to start it. No more.
You have to prioritize yourself.
Yeah, you've got to. Oh man, see, this is why I love these talks, because now I feel like I'm on fire. Like, I don't know about any people listening, and tell me in the comment section below too if you get fired up. But like, I'm like, right now I feel like I'm unstoppable. I could go do anything. Like, I'm like, let's go run. Like, I'm so like hyped right now. Tell me in the comments like how you feel at this very point. Comment below. Tell me how you're feeling, because I feel like I could explode with energy. Like, oh, this has been such a good way to start my Monday morning, Tash. Oh, this is awesome. Awesome. I love it. Before I let you go, is there any other words of wisdom, although you've dropped so much words of wisdom, is there any other things that you would love to leave my listeners with, either thinking to kind of embed in their heads, or just advice for anybody that's kind of going to start down this path?
I think that's a difficult question, because like you said, I don't want to just repeat something that I've already said.
Well, you can too. Repetition is always key in cases. Some people hear something once, but then it only sinks in if they hear it like the sixth time.
Yeah. Because I think the most important thing is the daily practice, to actually every day to ask yourself, even if it's a small thing, what can I do today to work towards my goal, or to work towards that? And for me, that was the 365-day yoga challenge. That's just a little motivation more. So I told people about that little goal, and I try to do at least like 10 minutes every day to do that. And that's something I would absolutely recommend that people think about. Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. I will try it too. Especially after my chat with my friend yesterday. I'm like, I don't even, like, I have to start trying it. I got to start getting my shit together. You know, we're only human. I may be on here telling you guys all the good things to do in life. I still mess up too. We're human, okay? Like, this is how it is. It's what we do. Like, it's fine. Yeah. You don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back on that bike and start going.
Exactly.
So, yeah. That's awesome. And for anybody that wants to get continually fired up, like I currently feel right now, Tasha, for anybody listening who wants to get more of you, wants to hear your podcast, wants to, you know, follow your yoga stuff on Instagram, where do they find you?
Yeah, I am on Instagram at Zitra_can_yoga. So Zitra Can Yoga. And I also have a podcast that I started like 2 months ago. That's Grow Happy with Yoga, where I talk about how you can use stuff that I learned from the yogic lifestyle, how you can incorporate stuff from that into your daily life to actually become more happy, or to help become more happy and build your self-love. And just my idea behind that was because I wanted to help people know that they can do something themselves. They can do these little things themselves and incorporate in their own lives so they can find happiness. Yeah. So yeah, check me up on Instagram and on podcast, and I would love to hear from you guys.
Do it. Give her a stalk. Everybody sucks. Don't act like you don't. I know you do. Come up on there, give her a good old creep. And anybody who's listened to this episode who already follows Tasha, come on, give me a creep. come on, let's just do it. Let's just keep on each other. Let's say hi. You know, especially now with the way the world is, I think people forget that you can just interact with people. Like, we're all human. Shoot us a message. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what you thought down below. You know, reach out to us independently, whatever. Like, we want to connect with you people. So connect, say hi, get chatting, get creeping. And if you missed the spelling or anything of how to get in touch with Tasha, I will link everything below or wherever it goes. I think it goes here. I'm just going to do this. This looks a bit more profesh. Down here somewhere in the info in this bit. But yeah, and if there's anything that Tasha and I talked about today that you'd love to know more about, you know, even if this course thing that we're doing that you want to hear more about, whatever, let us know. We can always hop on and do another episode, do something, give you guys whatever info you want or want to hear from. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Like I said, feel like I'm going to go explode right now. So I'm so freaking excited. This is like kicked my day off really well. I was a bit frustrated earlier because I had some tech issues getting all set up today. And like, I was like, ugh, like feeling really depleted. And having this chat, like now it couldn't be any more opposite. So thank you for that, Tash. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on the show. It was so amazing to talk to you.
It's awesome. And you people listening, let us know what you thought. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know how the homework's going. We want to know it all. So comment down below, reach us on Instagram, get in touch and stay connected. So until next time, guys, stay safe and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast this week. I really look forward to hearing what you got from this episode, what you did with regards to your homework this week, and if there was any light bulb moments you had. So please, please, please make sure to let me know what you thought and on what those moments were down below in the comment box. And make sure to subscribe to make sure you do not miss any new episodes. And if you want to be a part of the Rewrite Your Story community, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And you can follow us at rewriteyourstory.ca on Instagram, Facebook, and our website.